Oh, you just pressed play on This Week with Drunk Astrology. My name is Graham Breitenstein. I'm your astrologer and the creator of Drunk Astrology. If you're looking for someone to make astrology make sense to you and for you, well, my friend, you have come to the right place. Here on this podcast, we discuss the weekly cosmic weather. And when we break it down, we break it down. I believe that astrology can be used as a tool to inform your daily decisions and enhance your day-to-day life. So if you're ready to have a hell of a lot of fun with astrology, make some strategic decisions, and to just keep it real, well, that journey starts right now. The moment I wake up, before I put on my makeup, I say a little prayer for you while combing my hair now and wondering what dress to wear now. I say a little prayer for you. You better sing it with me now. Forever, forever, you'll stay in my heart, and I will love you forever and ever. We never will part. Oh, how I'll love you together, together. That's how it must be to live without you. Would only mean heartbreak for me. I run for the bus, dear. Yeah, we're still going. While riding, I think of us, dear. I say a little prayer for you. At work, I just take time, and all through my coffee break time, I say a little prayer for you. One more time. Forever, forever, you'll stay in my heart, and I will love you forever and ever. We never will part. Oh, how I'll love you together, together. That's how it must be to live without you. Would only mean heartbreak for me. Happy week. It was a long song, but I'm sorry. That song is worth 2 verses and 2 choruses. This is the podcast for the week of April 17th through the 23rd, 2023. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for singing along. I don't know who could listen to that and not sing along. So I'm just thanking you ahead of time, just kind of knowing that you were singing along. And maybe this is a great week to not just say a little prayer for you and for the people that you love, but also to press play on my best friend's wedding. When I think of that song, oh my gosh, all I think about is that movie. And all the different amazing versions of the song that are out there. Diane, oh my gosh, Graham, speak. Diane Warwick. Oh my gosh, Aretha Franklin. There's so many different amazing versions of this song. But it always just makes me think of my best friend's wedding. And maybe it's because I have a humongo bias to Julia Roberts. That Scorpio is... She's in my heart, man. Everything she does. The fact that she came back with that movie with George Clooney at the end of last year. Ticket to Paradise. So maybe this week, a little self-care message for you. Watch My Best Friend's Wedding. Watch Ticket to Paradise if you haven't already. Or even if you had, just watch them again. And press play on all the different versions of I Say a Little Prayer. Now, why, you say, should we say a little prayer this week? Well, as if you're a longtime listener, you're not going to be surprised. But if you're new here, welcome. This week we have the first of 2 eclipses in our eclipse season. But those of you that are professional listeners, you all know that the Libra full moon 2 weeks ago launched us into eclipses, and things have been rocking and rolling. And not just in the relationship department. When I tell you, there's like these personal and professional wins and advantages and opportunities and awesome things happening, and then at the same time getting sideswiped by very eclipse events and happenings and conversations with my friends, with my family. This is eclipses, right? It's fast paced. It's side swipes, rug out from under your feet, once in a lifetime opportunities. Holy crap, is this really happening to me? That's good, bad, and ugly, and indifferent. That's the feeling of eclipses. So if you're feeling any of that right now, don't panic. It's not just you, it's everyone. Now, the message I am trying to spread loud and clear across all my platforms, across all the things, all my messaging, whether it's on Instagram, drunkastro.com, here on this podcast, or a Daily Dose of Stars, is you never know what someone is going through, specifically during eclipses. Okay? Everything might look like everything's okay on the surface, but then there's a retaliation. There's a reaction to something that seems so far out of left field that you might feel like, well, that person's just a dick. When in actuality, like, if you knew what was going on beneath the surface, you would be like, oh, wow, I might be able to extend some grace here. So I just want to keep that in the forefront of your mind over the next several weeks. This is the first week of the actual eclipses taking place. So we have the Aries new moon solar eclipse. This is beginning our Aries Libra story, which this is kicking us off for the next 18, 19 months of working on our Aries Libra story wherever that falls in your chart. So you can look at your planets, you can look at your house placements, find Aries and Libra, find what houses they're in. They're right across from each other. So if you're in the first, you're in the seventh. If you're in the second, you're in the eighth. If you're in the third, you're in the ninth. So on and so forth. 4th, 10th, 5th, 11th, 6th, 12th. Okay? They're always going to be directly opposite each other. So that story is beginning now. And with Aries, we know that we're being asked to be bold and fearless and think first, or not think first, act first, think later. Disclaimer, if ever. But then there's also the side of Aries that can be too harsh, too brash, too aggressive, too much, right? And without considering consequences, repercussions, or the effects it has on someone else, right? How your actions affect others is something that can be kind of forgotten. Ego trips can also heighten during an Aries eclipse. So we have that taking place this week. We also have the sun entering Taurus. Yay for earth and water signs. For air and fire. But we do get 30 days of groundedness and a Venus vibe. We'll talk about it. And then we have Mercury stationing retrograde. So the retrograde brigade begins this week. This is the kickoff to retrograde season. Okay, Mercury's going to be first. Pluto's going to be next. And then we're going to go down the gamut across the next few months. So this is the last week. We have Monday through Thursday before Mercury stations. And then the season of backspins begin. Okay, and I just wanna say that just because we're beginning our retrograde seasons, yes, it does mean on the surface that we are experiencing hiccups and annoyances and the ghosts coming from your past. They come back and they kind of throw you off, or it's welcomed, right? Like a cousin you haven't seen in 15 years, and it's like, oh my gosh, like. What? There are reunions and things that we actually invite, but those of us that kind of have, ghosts in our closets, the kind of looming idea that they could come back, or they just creep back into your mind and you can't seem to shake the memory. Those things, depending on how you react to that, it can be alarming, it can be annoying, it can be upsetting. But beyond that, a lot of things do advance during retrogrades, but it might not be at the same pace that you like. It might not happen the same way that you've mapped it out or that you've wanted it to play out. But the beauty comes in the pause, right? So the suggestion is that everything, and if you've been listening to this podcast all year and in years prior, whenever we have our retrograde free zone, that is when I am pushing you to the max to get as much out into the world that you want, right? No matter what it is, whatever you are trying to, whatever goals you've made for the year, your resolutions, no matter when you set them, right? Whether it was January 1st, the Lunar New Year, your birthday if you've had it already, or the Aries new moon, the first one back from a month ago, wherever you've set your goals, I always push you to get as much out and running during retrograde free zones, because that's what is then you're going to pick up and slow down and revise your strategy, revise what you've put out. Because when there's nothing retrograde, we're going at full clip. The planets are moving at full pace, and so are we. But now the beauty in the pause during a retrograde, especially with Mercury, because it is a personal planet, he does rule our thinking mind, our thoughts, our ideas, our ability and willingness to communicate and to re-strategize, especially with this Mercury retrograde, because he is making 3 sextiles to Mars. Mars is all about action, ruling planet for Aries. So it's all about action. It's all about being bold, but it is first and foremost about your strategy. You have to rethink your strategy during this retrograde with whatever you are currently working on. So if it's a financial plan, you have to be willing to look at it and revise it and get a very clear understanding of where you are right now. But just understand that the retrograde quality in the sky says this is where you're at right now, but because I'm telling you now, but that you're going to have to look at this again over the next few weeks because things are going to change. This is not a time to start something new. Retrogrades always say go back and look at what is already in motion. If someone comes back from the past, let's just use the idea of an ex-lover, and that return is something that you invite or that you're curious about, the retrograde says, well, if you want to revisit this relationship, this is a time to renegotiate the terms of engagement, right? Oh, I'm down for friends with benefits, but I don't want anything else. Or I'm not down for that. I don't appreciate how things went down. I don't appreciate your communication style. Doesn't work for me. But if you're willing to look at it and you're willing to get to know how I process things and how I communicate and how I want there to be clarity between the two of us, if you're down for that, well, then I'm willing to have a discussion. Or if someone just wants you to hear them out, right? Say, okay, I'm willing to listen, but I don't know that I really have much to offer other than an ear. Okay, this is the idea. If it's coming from, if it's something already in motion that you're coming back to that is inclusive of relationships, then that is favored during retrograde. It is not the time to say, I'm launching this new course, I'm launching this new program, or I'm making this new pitch. Likely, anything that you try and get off the ground when Mercury stations retrograde, it will likely not, it won't get to its fullest potential, or it will take a significantly longer amount of time to come to fruition, right? Not the time to begin construction, to begin remodels, right? Now, unless you're just kind of going to say like, oh, I've always wanted to paint this one wall this color, and you're going back to the idea of like, oh, okay, I want to revisit this. But take your time, because something like that, there's also a suggestion that you might not like the color and that you'll have to do it again. Remember, retrogrades equal all of our RE words. Revise, reunite, reconnect, re-strategize. Rest is a big one that I think gets left out of the gamut of RE words. Pause. Beauty is in the pause. Okay, and clarity. Let's just use a Mercury word here. Clarity comes from taking a pause. Okay, we have that going this week. And just so you know, these are all back to back, right? Wednesday eclipse, Thursday Taurus season, Friday Mercury stations. Okay, we've got the back half of the week is pretty loaded, and it wouldn't be fair to say like, oh, the first couple of days of this week are quiet because it's eclipses, and I almost get more nervous during eclipses when the moons aren't really making too many aspects, the planets aren't making any aspects, because in eclipses, anything goes. Okay? So that's the overall vibe this week. Now, before we get into the moons and the planets and all the things, little news board item, we have a new daily doser in town. Her name is Deanna Reese. I want to welcome you to the Daily Dose of Stars, the daily podcast that I host. 2 to 5 minute episodes. It's a subscription-based podcast. It uploads, I'm sure those of you that listen and aren't daily dosers yet, because I'm just hell-bent on getting you all over to Daily Dose. It's you get it the same place that you get This Week with Drunk Astrology. But it's uploaded every single day at 2 a.m. Pacific or 5 a.m. Eastern, and it gets you right, and we give you guidance on what to do, what not to do, based on the planetary aspects that day. This week, Daily Dosers, I'm going to go ahead and tell you, we got a lot to talk about. I want you to be prepared for some special little nuggets of cosmic wisdom that are present this week. They are making room for fated events and opportunities. And I'm going to get all the daily dosers ready for that. So if you're not a daily doser yet, I would encourage you to scroll down on the episode page that you're on right now. Scroll down and just click that link to A Daily Dose of Stars and just see what everyone else has had to say. I have had some really great feedback from daily dosers, from clients that I do one-on-one readings with, that I've been able to connect with over the last few weeks as I finished up the yearly readings. And it's always great to get great feedback, but especially with somebody and people that have been with me for a long time. It's really great. So I put a lot of their feedback and their testimonials and the things that they DM me and email me and text me, I added there on the landing page for A Daily Dose of Stars so that you could hear it from their mouths, not just mine. Okay? Okay, but yes, I just want to reiterate, Deanna, welcome. So happy to have you, and enjoy your daily doses. All right, so let's get to the moons, and then we'll get to the planetary aspects because there is quite a bit of it. Okay, so as we start the week, Monday the 17th, that is actually my mom's birthday. So Miss Judy Booty Tootie Fruity, happy birthday. Moon is in Pisces, going void at 11:57 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, and then later on that night on Monday, the moon enters Aries. Then on Tuesday, the moon is in Aries all day. That is actually my dad's birthday. So happy birthday, Pops. Love you both. And yes, those of you that are listening, this Virgo has 2 Aries parents. It was quite an upbringing with all of the activity and action around the house. Also with a Leo brother and a Pisces brother. We were quite the gamut. Then on Wednesday, we of course have the Aries new moon solar eclipse, and also same day the moon switches into Taurus. The moon's in Taurus Thursday, Friday, and then switches into Gemini on Saturday the 22nd, which is Earth Day, but it is also one of my besties, Kaylee Collar's birthday. So Kaylee, I love you, love you, love you. You are my everything. I love you so. I don't know what that song is. Not even remotely a birthday song, but love you, Kaylee. You are a Taurus Earth Day queen. And the moon on Sunday also still in Gemini. So we start the week a little sleepy with that Pisces moon, a little dream time, a little creative time, a little just like rest and relaxation, and kind of like maybe a little like fog, a little fuzzy coming in from the weekend. And then we're full steam ahead with the Aries moon Tuesday, Wednesday, Taurus Thursday, Friday, just grounding, relationships, good nourishing food. And then Saturday, Sunday, the moon in Gemini, all about communication, bartering, negotiating, contracts, agreements, really like connecting, right? Connecting with it's a great weekend to like go out with your friends, your tribe, like your close-knit group of people that you love, and you can kiki, and you can have fun, and you can, shoot the shit, talk it, walk it, be extra. It is also, no, wait a minute. No, we're not. Yeah, no, that's the second weekend of Coachella. I wish I was in Coachella. Oh, how I miss the desert. But is what it is. Okay, so now let's just get into the planetary aspects so I can get you on. Wow, it's actually looking like a much shorter podcast. I'm so impressed by myself right now. Okay, let's talk about the Aries new moon solar eclipse taking place on Wednesday at 9:13 p.m. Pacific. Funny enough, that's my birthday, September 13th, 9:13. It is at the very last degree of Aries. It's 29 degrees and 50 minutes. This is part 2, because Aries are dramatic. They got their way this year. They got 2 new moons, one of which is this eclipse. So we're going to go back to March 21st, when we had the first Aries new moon, and I said this is the astrological new year. Manifest, manifest, manifest. What do you want to begin? How bold are you willing to be? Etc., etc. I want you to go back to the 21st and the 2 weeks that followed, leading up to the Libra full moon, which took place on April 5th. So we're looking at March 21st through April 5th. Seeds planted then, here they come back twofold and tenfold, because this is part 2 of this sequence this year, but it is chapter 1 of a larger 5-part story that we're going to be working on through early 2025. Okay, we're in this now. Now, remember, this eclipse season, we are also in Chapter 4 of the Taurus Scorpio story that began November-December 2021. Okay? So Chapter 4 eclipses, that's more evolved. You're more kind of like a bad bitch, right? You kind of like, okay, I can handle this, because if I think back to November-December 2021, I had no clue. Or I was at rock bottom, or I was catapulted out of my comfort zone, and now I've had, you've had 2, 3, you've had chapter 2, you've had chapter 3, and now here you are for chapter 4. You're more confident, you're more comfortable, you've been through some things, and you're just more like, okay, I can see this from a higher vantage point. But we are in chapter 1 of another story that can have us a little discombobulated, a little disoriented, a little confused, a little like kind of lost. Aries is self-direction. So if you are feeling like you're directionless or you're not really sure where you're going, this eclipse can either slam you on your ass or it can propel you forward. Remember, course corrections, when they happen during eclipses, they are a wake-up call. They are metaphorically and sometimes literally grabbing you by the shoulders and shaking you and telling you to wake up. Like you are not on course with your purpose and your direction. Get it together. Now, sometimes it doesn't come like a pep talk. It comes by a slam dunk. So that's why I want you to go easy on yourself, and I want you to go easy on other people. Okay? That doesn't give everyone a hall pass to be an asshole. That's not what I'm saying. But it does. I do just want to say, like, some people are really having a hard time, like, facing what they just either refuse to see, won't see, couldn't see, and that is showing up in a really powerful way. And not everybody can, in the heat of the moment, especially when it's Aries energy, can't really like see that without having like, breakdowns or just massive upsets. Okay, so just go easy, please. Thursday, the 20th, the sun enters Taurus at 1:14 a.m. Pacific. I don't know if I said this earlier, but just make sure that all the times I give you are Pacific, so make sure you adjust for your time zones. So 30 days of Venus, and while the sun is in Taurus, Venus is going to float between Gemini, where she's flirty, she's charming, she's a little slutty. I'm not gonna lie, she's a little slutty. So if you're single, trying to mingle, just embrace the inner slut, okay? Entertain. Oh my God, if anyone's new here, they're going to be like, what am I listening to? Venus in Gemini is charming, and variety is the spice of life. So when I say embrace your inner slut, I just think try something that you haven't tried before, right? Date outside of your preference, date outside of your norm. And I will say this too, Venus in Gemini, now with the sun entering Taurus, your smarts, your ability to hold and maintain good conversation is gonna be your best bet. Okay, because Venus in Gemini is in a Mercury ruled nerdy sign, and remember, Venus in Gemini answering to Mercury retrograde, likely gonna bring back some lovers or old financial opportunities, right? Like, people that you worked before that, especially if you're like a freelancer or something like that, you might get a message of like, oh, hey, would you mind coming back? Like, we hey, let's talk. Let's revisit our working dynamic or, whatever. So you might have that going on too, because while Venus is in Gemini, she will be answering to a back-spinning Mercury. And then in May, she'll enter Cancer, where she'll get way more sentimental, way more emotional, way more nurturing. She's gonna care more about that, and the zeitgeist is gonna care more about TLC. But right now, she's more so like, tickle my fancy. You? Hey, maybe you and maybe you over there. So if you're coupled up, try some freaky dicky stuff, okay? Just try it on and don't get married to anything. It's just more like, well, I don't know. Let's just try this and just see if we like it, right? It's experimental. When a planet like Venus is in Gemini, love, desire, affection, you have a pass to be experimental and not get like caught up or upset about anything. Just like, oh, okay. Yeah, all right, sure. Let's just try it, and if we hate it, we'll just laugh about it later. And if we like it, then we'll just keep it going. Now, unfortunately, on Thursday, the sun enters Taurus and then immediately has a square to Pluto. So there is a power struggle, a power dynamic. This is kind of like the season changes, and then all of a sudden we kind of get smacked across the head a little bit. The changes that we need to make. Remember, Taurus fixed Earth. Aquarius, where Pluto is, fixed air. So an idea, a resisting resisting changing an idea, but there's some kind of like power dynamic at play. So just keep that in mind, and remember, some sort of action is required to overcome the stress, the tension, or the friction. So when Thursday comes around, and if you're someone that has that experience directly, ask yourself, what action can you take to get on the other side of it? Then Friday the 21st, Mercury stations retrograde at 1:35 in the morning at 15 degrees and 37 minutes of Taurus. Okay, so it's going to backspin all through Taurus. Let me just say, Taurus as an earth sign means all your physical Mercury things, your phone, your iPads, tablets, computers, cars, your physical tech devices are kind of more so at risk for buffoonery. Misconnections, miscommunications, batteries dying, dropping your phone in the toilet, cracking your screen, things like that. So do back up all your devices. It's funny because apparently my iCloud storage is completely full, which doesn't make any sense because I bought like the most storage you can buy, and there's just no friggin' way that, anyway, this is very much Mercury retrograde. Like, how is this even possible? This is the type of thing that I want you to be on guard for, okay? Give yourself extra time to get to places. Take extra care if booking travel. Trying to think. Double down on your scheduling. If you use your phone for everything, start writing it down at least during the next several weeks as well. Put them on Post-its, put them in your car, put them at your desk, put them by wherever you're going to see them. People run forgetful. Even businesses, right? I had an eye exam to re-up my contacts. I made my order, and the order was never placed, so I had to follow up today and say, hello, like, are we all good here? And they were like, oops, sorry, totally missed your order, so you have to come in and do it again. Welcome to life of a Virgo 5 times over with their ruling planet going backwards. Okay, as soon as retrograde shadow begins, my life goes up in smoke. Anyway, that's it for me. Have a wonderful week. Please consider coming over to the Daily Doses, especially because we're in eclipses, especially because we have a retrograde at the same time, and especially because there are moments this week in particular, but over the next several weeks, where fate is on your side, and I want you to take advantage of it. And Daily Dosers get that info. All right, have a wonderful week. I'll see you next time. Bye. This is Graham Breitenstein, and you've been listening to This Week with Drunk Astrology. If you want to follow Drunk Astrology, head to Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and hit that follow button. And if you want to learn how to put astrology in motion for you, head to drunkastro.com and get on the insider list. If you haven't already, subscribe, rate, and review this podcast on Apple, Spotify, and Google platforms. Tune in next week for yet another opportunity to work in sync with the stars. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you soon.